So. Hey guys, and welcome to the first weekly drive here with Grow Cap. Welcome to
What's
our
going
cap here,
on?
to our first podcast. How you doing, guys? So just quickly, our name is Grow Cap, and every week, we want to do a drive with you guys, and we want to take you somewhere here with this podcast, which we are recording here right now. So let me
Yes,
welcome
sir.
Leon in Frankfurt. How you doing, man?
What's going on? I'm really good. I'm really excited. Coming here from Frankfurt and just saying hi. I'm excited. It's a new thing I'm doing here. I have some bunch of cameras right there and right there and right there.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, really interesting. So let's get started.
Yeah. Just let me quickly welcome you here from Switzerland. A little bit fresh snow on the mountains. It's pretty
Woo!
nice today. And yeah, I'm really excited that we finally came here together to start this whole thing. And yeah, just like we mentioned before, it will be like a weekly podcast which we publish here. And it's just like this kind of drive where you want to take you from somewhere. And the goal is to bring you to somewhere and to a little bit grow together. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
I think just for the beginning we start with quickly introducing ourselves, and yeah, maybe you Leon, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I can totally start. Yeah, quickly before I introduce myself, the thought really behind the first podcast today is just that you guys kind of understand what our motivation is, who we are, what we do in life, and why we came together for this. I think this will all be really clear by the end of this podcast, we hope. And yeah, as he said, you guys get into our cab, we'll take you for a ride and talk about things. And by the time you get out of this, pretty sure you're going to be at another point of the journey. And that's what life should be about in general, right? And I think that also fits pretty well to my still young life story. I just turned 21 last year. Yeah, Leon, born near Frankfurt, where I also still live. And yeah, I was always a person that loved to get out and loved to go traveling, and I had first opportunity to do that was when I was 15. Thanks to my parents, I got the opportunity to spend 1 year in the States doing my high school year exchange abroad, and it was fun. Like you got to learn the language really young. You got to know a lot of new people, but also a lot of new experiences. And I think that in such a young life, if you understand what freedom can be, and you get up every morning and you basically can do whatever you want. And if you
Yeah.
have that feeling early on, I
I, th-
think that
I
can really help you.
yeah, I think it's literally you get addicted to the freedom, and it's also great
Yeah.
that you went to the States. Like your accent, man, it's fucking good shit.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
So what you did
So,
after the stay in the United States then?
yeah, I came back to school in Germany. I finished school, graduated from German high school, and then I thought, I kind of like I want to make some money. I want to travel. I want to, have a nice car because I'm a car nerd. It's a crazy thing with me, and the best way I thought I could be is, just be a salesman, be an international salesman. So after I graduated from high school, right away I applied for this dual program in college, which is kind of like you go to college for 3 months and then you work at a company for 3 months, and that alternates every 3 months for 3 years until you get your bachelor's degree. And I thought that would really fit for me, because I love working and I love, kind of like having this practical approach to what I learn. I don't want to sit there theoretically thinking about something. And the cool thing is that you also get money, of course, and you have the connection to the workplace. But what is crazy is that after I applied and I signed the contract, I went for travel again once more. And the time I was traveling, I got to know a whole new approach of how to look at life through the people I met and through the opportunities I understood were also out there besides the things I thought I knew. which was really, mind changing for me because I understood that I really didn't know anything at all about what there is out there and what I could be good at. Before I continue with that, though, the first trip I took was to Valencia, which was interesting for our story because that's where I met your girlfriend, and that's kind of how we got together. But before we continue that point, let's get started with what you've been up to last year's and what your life is about, Dami.
I just turned 21 like last year as well, and I graduated high school when I was 18. And after that, I went traveling in New Zealand for 1 year, did work and holiday there, and gained a lot of different experiences, had like different jobs from working on farms, working in offices and everything. And yeah, slowly got a feeling for also, like you mentioned before, what's all out there in life. And also I got a completely different perspective than I got back home.
Yeah.
And after that, I also went to Asia for half a year, and even there, I saw like a completely different thing again, because like life in every part of the world is like completely different. And for me, it's also what I appreciate a lot from these experiences. I really like I appreciate what life way more when I see like literally how many possibilities we have, and also how much we can do out of it. And that's something like how traveling opened my eyes for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, after Asia, I went back home and I was looking for a job, and I'm living quite very close to the Swiss border. And then I found a part-time job over in Switzerland. It was like kind of doing person-to-person advertisement for charity organizations.
Cool.
You got into touch with lots of people and a lot of different opinions, and you had to kind of yeah share to them what the organization is about and find new members.
Yeah.
And it was a really great experience because it was a lot about self-motivation for sure, and also through getting in touch with so many different people, you also you learn so much more about like exchanging with people, how to behave and stuff like that, and really appreciated that. And after working there for a while, I just finally decided to study, and I study macroeconomy now at the University of Bern. And for me, I'm really interested into that topic because, especially like in the world today, it's so important how all the different countries or how all the relations in the world are. And also I'm really interested into like things like the stock market and stuff like that as well. So it just gives me more knowledge for that year. And in minor, I want to do psychology to also understand the psychological part a little bit more as well. Yes, that's just like a quick
That's
summary about all that. And yeah, so yeah, I think now it's yeah, that's like the point where we met is coming now, I guess, or
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah, taking it back for me. The interesting part was, as you were in Asia and New Zealand everywhere, I took a little trip to Valencia, to Spain, because I was really interested in, living there for a couple of months, learning the language properly, and kind of, working, studying, and everything before I got into this dual program for college, because that was supposed to start in October 2019. So I started my trip in January 2019. And it was a lot of great people there, good vibes, people from all around the world, and one Swiss girl. And her name is Cynthia, and I got along with her really well. We got along on every level, talking about life, going out with friends. And yeah, then we stayed in touch because she took some trips as well. And while she went back to Switzerland, I came home for 3 days, repacked my stuff, took a huge backpack, and one of my best friends and went to Canada. Because I knew I wanted to get out into nature, and Canada was the perfect spot for that. So yeah, we were there for 11 weeks, and I think we took as much as we could out of experiences, out of nature. The nature there is insane. If you guys haven't been there, you have to go. I will definitely be back there because those 10, 11 weeks were not enough at all. And so, yeah, we had some great experience just traveling through the Rockies, through the major cities like, Whistler, Vancouver, Toronto. And we also spent 2 weeks on the farm, actually, working, which was also really, really interesting, I would say, the experiences, because it was something I've never experienced before. Just being in the middle of the Rockies, in the middle of nowhere, with a huge farm. I think it was like 50 or 60 acres. It was huge. And on the way back, so I went from the west to the east coast, and on the way back, my friends from New Hampshire, that's near Boston on the east coast of the States, it's where I spent my high school year. They picked me up in Montreal. We had a good night there, and then went back and just spent a couple of weeks in summer there. And then I got back, and right before the college program started, I was supposed to bring my grandpa to Austria, because he was supposed to go there with his, senior vacation group, and he missed the bus. So my mom was like, yeah, why don't you take your grandpa to Austria? I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't have anything else to do. I'll do that. Cool. So I was like, that should be a trip that's worth going. And since I'm not going to spend my week, with the seniors, why don't I visit this friend I met in Valencia, which lives in Switzerland? So I took a drive to Austria, and then I went to Switzerland, and I visited your girlfriend. And yeah, I think that was September last year, and since then it's been 6 times, right? We met up all together, and why don't you tell me a little bit how that whole story went for you, and how that house you're living in has been developing, because that's really interesting as well.
Yeah, it took it really short before I realized now it's like I slowly bumped into Switzerland through this job, and then I met my girlfriend on this job, and yeah, it worked out really, really well. It's really good relationships still till today. Holy shit! And yeah, then yeah, she moved to Bern, or close to Bern, and it's like big house, like the grandmother of the owner. She just passed away, and now they made a big flat out of it where a lot of young people are living. And yeah, Leon just came here once, and he just loved the place. So it's now, we always say, if he goes away like 2 weeks or no 2 months later, he will come back again. And yeah, I just remember like the one time he was coming, we went for like a Via Ferrata and went up into the mountains and all that stuff, and we just really had a great time. And like from there, I think it's, yeah, we just connected really well and talked about different topics. And yeah, I'm super glad that he's always like coming back, having this great friend to talk to. Yeah,
Thanks, man. Appreciate
definitely
it.
great.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because that first time I came there was just Cynthia and, the other guy that owns the house, basically. And, that gave this great opportunity for a lot of other college students to just live in that beautiful environment. Because let's be honest, you guys can be in Bern, in a big city in half an hour, but you have the Alps and huge lakes around you, and the nature is just beautiful. So that's what, kind of the motivator was for me to come back, to enjoy the environment, but also the great vibes. Because, I think you can really feel the difference if you can just relax and be with people that accept you for who you are and that let you do your thing. That's a huge game changer. And that's funny, because when I started college, I mean, there's a lot of elbows that go out nowadays, right? A lot of people want to be really competitive, want to climb up the career ladder. And I think that is great, because they're following a goal. But I think that sometimes they just see the job, and they just see what the job can give them. And that's mostly money or material things. And just, they just run behind it like this carrot that they're following, or like this hamster wheel. And spending time with you guys, and spending more time and talking to people I met on traveling or on other projects, opportunities I have been starting the past year, it's just really interesting, because you kind of start to dare to actually stand for what you think or what you dream for, which I think a lot of people would say that should be normal, but for me it wasn't. And I know that there's a lot of people out there, it's not that easy for them themselves. And now, my dual study program is about economy and about, business and finances and everything. And then I really started to question, is that something I really want to work at? Until today, I'm not 100% sure if that job will work for me in the beginning, but I will continue learning and continue taking in the experiences and also apply what I learned from my private life. Because at the end of the day, even if you don't want to work in finances, it's always good to have knowledge about what will happen to your finances, or what you said will happen to the stock market and everything. And yeah, that just changed a lot in my mind. And then I think we both grew to a peak at what we came to the decision of how we want to do this podcast and how we want to spread our stories. Maybe you want to quickly get into how that happened.
Yeah, I think like the main point, what you mentioned just right before, is just about like realizing that there's more out there. And by realizing like there's more out there, you kind of want to grow, and you question things which would be like super casual before. Like before, meeting up and talking about that stuff, maybe you thought, okay, I go for the normal career ladder. That's all I know and that's all I want. But now, if you just re-question that and see more, which is also out there, you really realize, like, do I really need to go this path, or is there more possible? And I think that's just something like supernatural. We just want to do more. We just want to grow more. And I think like one job for our lifetime, I'm not sure if that's like maybe it's just like an old system. And yeah, just by talking about topics about topics like this, we just realized that we have the same interests there, and that we really both want to grow and exchange. And then we just thought, why don't we take this to a next level and just share our talking, our thoughts and experiences, and also get new thoughts into that, and just do this podcast, do this weekly drive here where we want to grow. And also we really want to get exchange from like the community, and like keep the exchange running. That's like, I think, what's our goal. And it's also like one main point from our thinking as well, that we're really like open to getting new thoughts, new ideas into our lives.
Exactly. I think that was really clear that should be our approach or our goal, because the idea came when we were with people. We were with people out in the mountains. It was snowing and raining. We were on this bridge in the middle of nature, in the middle of nowhere. When we both kind of at the same time, almost like telepathically, came to the idea, dude, I want to start something with you. Like something about mindset, something about motivation, something about putting our stories that we love for ourselves out there. Because, often in life you have talks with people and they get back to you. That happened to me just last week, and they're like, thanks, man. Like, thanks for this inspiration, or thanks for connecting me with people. Because actually last time I was there, before I went to you guys' place, I went to Mannheim. There's another city in Germany, and I met a guy that I met from a party in Canada, because there was a girl in more south of Germany that I met in Canada, and she, had a party. And I met this guy, and I was like, dude, you're so cool, we gotta meet up. So I met him the last time before I went to you guys' place, and he was so excited and so spontaneous, he just came with me. And he was so thankful to just be there with you guys and enjoy the weather, enjoy the time we had. And that's when we both started to realize that's something we want to do on a way bigger picture.
So true.
And so that's why we started this podcast.
So true. It was just a spontaneous sign, and we just like completely acknowledged it. And we just say to ourselves, we just go all in. We have to listen to that sign, and we have to do it now.
Exactly. Especially now, talking about during Corona, right? I think there's a lot of people that understand or start to understand what life is really about and why they're actually here. And it's not just about, taking a car, driving to work, working, coming back, all this like basic goals, but actually like what life is about, what your purpose is on this planet. And we just want to kind of like put our story out there, inspire people, and also maybe even help other people find that path if they're open or interested.
I think it's just like you said, it's like we just were staying, like, just quickly want to reframe the situation. We were just staying there on the bridge, and we were talking about these topics, and we were talking about them over and over again, and we just realized like we both are all into this topic. We just want to grow as much as possible into this direction. And then we just thought, why we don't spread that information? Why we don't share it? Why we don't want to make it make more people realize like that stuff? And that's like why we wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We just want to, talk about what life is about in general, what experiences we have had with certain topics, about, mindset, personal involvement. Domi wants to talk about, your startups, building businesses, all the finance topics. And I think all together that leads into that direction of just being free to yourself wherever that picks you up.
Exactly.
And that doesn't matter if that is courage to give to people to start dreaming again, or actually just start dreaming for the first time. Things about travel, financial, or just general freedom and independence. And we want to do that with a weekly podcast from ourselves where we just talk about things that interest us, and also in the close future, things that interest you guys. So as Dami said, we want to learn from you guys. We want you guys to give us inspiration and be part of this experience, because the name isn't Grow Cab for nothing. We want to grow together, and we want to take this ride all together with you. And that's also going to be done through guests that we will invite into our podcast, and that will hopefully share their experiences of their certain and inspiring way of life. So maybe you kind of want to continue why we want to do this project, or what it's going to be about, a little more in detail.
First, we probably want to start with like basic psychological thinking and the way of thinking and where we get trapped into and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And as further we go into detail there, we also want to take examples out of real life, and want to like this psychological knowledge, we want to reflect it on life so that we can use what we learn here. And then also we kind of want to inspire you guys to do some certain projects, or to grow in certain areas of your life, and also for us for sure that we want to grow in certain areas of our life. And I think it's like more or less what we want to do here really is just grow all together. And to do so, we need all the input from like all the different people for sure as well. And then we can grow like as a community. And there are so many different areas where you can grow. Like for example, we both are focused, like I'm focused on like maybe like business growing more. You're more focused on like sports and stuff and fitness. But there's so much more areas. And to really get all these areas, we thought it's really important to have a community as well. And that's why we want to not just talk like we two guys. We don't just, it shouldn't be just an exchange between us. It should be exchange with everyone who is willing to join this whole thing. And and also we're also thinking about, like you mentioned before, taking guests into here from like different expert fields and expert areas. For example, like people who are doing music, people who are doing like, for example, videographing and stuff like that, or in the coaching area. And I think from all of that, like there's so many different inputs we can take into the podcast, into growing into our life, and hopefully into your lives as well.
And I think those would be topics just like basic motivation, inspiration, mindset, change, and that can happen on every level. For you, it's a lot about, building business, sharing that experience to others that are maybe interested in that as well. For me, it's a lot about just the mindset itself, about actually knowing what you want, stepping out of your comfort zone, and also, of course, about sports and health, which really interests me personally. Maybe on that point, you kind of want to get into quickly what we both do aside from school and aside from doing this podcast, because there's a lot of free time hobby experiences we've had together. So maybe you want to quickly get into that, what you do for your free time as well.
Like my biggest hobbies for sure, because I live here in the Swiss Alps now, is going into the mountains, and I do a lot of like mountain biking, deer running, all that kind of crazy stuff. And also when Leon was visiting, we did the Via Ferrata, which is like kind of like climbing and stuff. And it's also like you go up there and you push yourself out of your comfort zone. You do some every time you do something more crazy, I guess. And that's also it's bringing pure happiness, I guess, because you reach something, and I think that's also something which is missing sometimes in the daily life. You just do your casual stuff, and it's just like you work in your autopilot, and you set you set some goals, but you set while you go hiking and stuff like that, you set goals and you see how you reach them and get there, and I think that's like a really inspiring and motivation part. And yeah, besides that, I'm also working on a little clothing startup at the moment as well. And also for sure, we just thought we start this whole thing here with the podcast as well. Um, yeah, is there anything you wanted to tell the guys about your free time as well, for sure?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about health, about fitness. That is definitely something that interests me. Going to the gym almost every day and just kind of looking how mind and body can work together. Because as I said, I think that is the base for everything. So that is something I really care about, and I really want to get my mind wrapped around. I think we will have also a couple of people that will talk about those topics that have great experiences and also great knowledge that we can also take a big chunk off. And then, all kinds of just being active, being with people, play the saxophone, which is a lot of fun. And just like those things that, get you to another level. I just love being with people. Like you said, we went out climbing, we went out hiking into the snow. It was like the end of, or like the mid of September, and we went up with the car into this mountain roads, just went into the snow. We jumped into a lake while it was like 4 or 5 degrees outside, which was crazy, and I loved it. Doing some Wim Hof, who's also a great dude. Shout out to him. And yeah, I think that is also like what comes from our hearts and from our thoughts. That's what we want to put into this podcast. Just making people more aware of the topic of thinking about why you're actually here. Trying to give them the opportunity or motivate them to unleash their full potential and think about, what they do on a daily, day-to-day basis. And yeah, I think that is pretty much what we want to do here, as you said, with the weekly podcast and some smaller, short passages of what we talk about also on Instagram, some short clips, and maybe you want to get into that a little more.
Yeah, sure. But just quickly to summarize it a little bit, I think it's just like our main thing is just push ourselves out of our comfort zone and then just enjoy this pure happiness which it will bring to us or to bring to you guys then. So that's more or less like the main part, the main point behind all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just quickly to our Instagram and our whole plan. So we have this weekly growth right here, which will be like half our podcast thingy, and this one will be published on YouTube. And besides that, we want to put like smaller stuff out on Instagram, and yeah, and we really want to keep the repetition and the reminding going with this as well, because like we mentioned before, it's not a goal that you reach, this whole thing, like this whole motivation and growing thing.
Yeah.
It's like a path that you take, and that's why we want to do weekly stuff, and we want to also do like kind of like daily stuff on Instagram again, to also remind ourselves and also to remind you guys about what it's all about, and to really implement all that thinking and talking what we do here in our day-to-day life, because just talking about it won't change anything. We and you guys, we have to implement it in our life.
Yeah.
And yeah, we also really appreciate having you guys out there, having the community, and really keep this thing growing and keep this cab riding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it driving. Stay on the ride, and also with our guests that will come in just to talk about how they made their dream become true, or how they implemented what they actually want in their life and what they're doing daily to get where they want to go. And I think that is really inspiring, how you can transform your life. And yeah, we just kind of, to sum it up, just kind of want to spread that topic of self-awareness, motivation, and the ability to really change ourselves, our lives, and also to help the people around us in a closer or further environment. And yeah, I think that sums it up pretty good, man. For the first episode.
Definitely.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Definitely. And I hope you guys are happy with our first podcast. It's a little bit still the car is driving already, but it wasn't driving for quite a while, so we need a little bit of time to warm it up properly. And so please give us feedback. What you think we guys did good, what we should do better, and just criticize us, because we want to grow here.
Give us the stuff. Yeah, that's good. We want to grow, as you said. It's the Grow Cab. Once more, hashtag Grow Cab. Cars running, but we're just getting started. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank
you for listening.
Peace. Talk to you soon.
Peace out.